Cason, thanks a lot so much for agreeing to interview with us with the Sound Machine Booster Club at North Carolina Central University. And certainly you have sort of grew up with the band, so to speak, and we're just happy to have you here. First of all, to get started, why don't you give us a little bit of your background and how did you become interested in music, and how did you get here at North Carolina Central?
Well, my interest in music and how I got to Central are very much related. The way I got to Central, because I had not seen Central's band when I was in high school up in Hertford County. But my dad was my band director at Murfreesboro High School. He was the first black director in that county. And as far as once they integrated, put it that way. He started off at C.S. Brown, which was the first public black high school in North Carolina. And then when they integrated, went to Murfreesboro High School, which is now Hertford County High. But we had a good old-fashioned band director visit. Jerry Head came down to our program and recruited. So, that's one thing that still works. And the other thing that still works today in getting kids from the high schools to colleges, people that were in the band who got there before you. So I had 5 or 6 of my classmates that had graduated and gone on to NCCU. And they were leaders and having a big impact in that program. So that impressed me that kids from my school were actually going to NCCU and making a difference. So it wasn't a hard choice at all.
Well, okay, all right. And what year was that, and what's your father's name?
My father's Franklin Cason Sr.
Okay.
And I finished high school in 1980.
Okay.
So my first real encounter was the summer of 1980, going in as a freshman, as a new head, as they called it.
Okay, and your band director was Dr. Jerry Head?
Jerry Head.
All right. Well, kind of bring us around a little bit and kind of give us the life of a music student in the North Carolina Central Band at that time.
Well, the first thing is getting into private lessons, because I'm a trombonist, and Jerry was the trombone teacher, of course, and first thing he said was, "Why are you bringing that toy up in here? Get yourself a real trombone." From then on, it was important to realize how much we had to take our instruments seriously and everything that we did seriously. And so it was amazing to see. I'm coming from a small town. I was a big man in a small town, and now here I am trying to really make it work in the university level. So I had a lot of fast growing up to do, but I was pretty confident in my abilities. And I had some home people who were in my section. So I felt very well taken care of. I felt like I was learning quickly. I learned a lot of very important life lessons, just being a part of that band program, and an immediate family. I mean, that summer, we were there, football players were there, and the West on campus, and so we really quickly bonded. And, some of the best years of my life, I tell my high school students now as they're going off to college, these are some of the best years of your life that you're about to walk into, so take your time. It'll be over before you know it, so, just make the most of every minute.
Well, it seems as if the traditions of musicianship and family has been the norm and the standard here at North Carolina Central. I had the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Joseph Mitchell not too long ago, and one of the first things that he stressed, even with the beginning days when he was here at North Carolina Central, was the musicianship, the appreciation for the dedication of the musicianship. So speak to how that helps regarding building a band program and developing a band program.
The musicianship, when I was there as a student particularly, there was a lot of pride. The people that I was surrounded with, practicing was just like breathing. I mean, you got up, you ate, you practiced, you went to class, you practiced, you went to lunch, then you practiced, you went to class. I mean, that's what we did. There were some waiting around for empty practice room. That was something that was just the norm. And there was a lot of internal competition as well. You wanted to try to make sure that you had, that you stood well in good standing with those who were around you. I mean, you just had a lot of pride in your own musicianship and growth. And that was just what was expected. It was the norm.
Okay. Well, great. Well, it's my understanding that you did very, very well as part of the band at North Carolina Central. Section leader, drum major.
Yes.
Share with us, please, some of the duties of section leader, drum major as part of the organization regarding the band family.
At the time that I became drum major, it was when Dr. Head had stopped doing the tryouts. Because up to that time, I watched as I was a freshman and sophomore, and here I am a junior. And, they'd been doing drum major tryouts. And I decided that wasn't something I wanted to do, try out for it. I was happy playing my role as a captain and section leader. And he decided that year that he was going to start appointing. So it was definitely something I wasn't even looking for. And he was looking, he let us know that he was looking for leadership qualities and potential. And I do the same thing now as a director. I appoint my leaders because I feel like you're always auditioning. You're always showing what you're made of and what's about. So I felt very honored that he chose myself and one other gentleman to bring in as a drum major that year. And our role was really to motivate, rally the troops, bring unity, be that big brother in the family, and not let anybody kind of veer off track. And again, we were full of great musicians, and so there was never a problem standing in front of them and conducting and rehearsing them because we were all on the same page. We really, during those days, I went, in my 4 years, we had one overnight trip to Morgan State. That was it. And so it was always about traveling up and down the road and coming back, and the bus rides. Oh, we had great times. I mean, it's just fun being around your family. And, it didn't really matter whether you were a leader or a freshman. You were all on the same page, same measure, I should say.
Okay, it sounds like that still works today in
Yes.
2012.
I'm
the bus
sure.
rides, the family, and the kids just helping each other out.
That's
and,
right.
Bringing everybody along as part of the team. Okay, well, let's transition a little bit and tell us about continue your education and how did you, it's my understanding, you became the band director.
That's correct. Okay. I left in 1984 and went on to UNC Greensboro to get my master's, and went from there to Columbus County to Central Middle School. So I was still connected to Central.
Okay.
And as a band director at Central Middle School, I came back to NCCU to do a workshop as a teacher in the field, just talking to some of the potential band directors about what it was like out there in the real world, so to speak. And on my way, before I left home, the chairman, Dr. Gilchrist, asked me to come up and consider applying for the job. And I was really shocked at that. And so shocked that he called me later saying, "Where's your application?" And I thought he was joking. I thought he was just being courteous. Okay, alumni come back. He said, "No, I want you to go ahead and apply." And to my surprise, I was able to get that job, and it was awesome. It was an awesome experience. I loved every bit of it. And again, the thing that made it the most fun for me was, again, the relationships. Those students, we're still in touch now. They still call me Papa.
Okay.
And they brought me to Facebook, matter of fact. I mean, one reason I even got on Facebook at my age was to just kind of reconnect, not only to people I went to school with, but definitely to my former students. Those are some of the greatest relationships we had. And the times that we spent together, it was about life lessons. And that's what we talk about now, the times that they may have made mistakes or the things that went well and what they learned and still use in their own lives today. I mean, it's very good connections made during that time.
Okay, if you would, how about sharing with us some of the history of the sound machine as you know it, and perhaps some of the milestones and some of the things that you were most proud of during your tenure as band director?
One thing that was difficult about that time that I was there was just the lack of funds. It was just, it was really ridiculous, the budget that we had. And I was able to maintain a band about the size of 140, 145 without any scholarships whatsoever. It just so happened that during the transition from Dr. Head to myself, they decided to move whatever scholarship monies there were to some other department. And it wasn't until I was about to leave that they actually put those back, probably about 95, 96 before any scholarship monies came back. So I spent most of my time in the administration building begging for money, basically borrowing from other programs. And so a lot of my time was spent begging and borrowing when I wasn't in the band room. And it was easy to do because I had great student leadership, and it wasn't hard to put them in charge and have them run things quite a bit, along with our great assistant, Moselle Long. One of my major goals was to make the sound machine a household name. As a student, it was just as much the NCCU Marching Eagle Band as it was the sound machine. Only time we ever said sound machine was in a cadence. They had a chant. And I felt like the NCCU Marching Eagle Band was kind of long for marketing purposes. So I just kind of made it my purpose to every time I spoke about it, had it in the paper. Even I changed our banner to where the word sound machine was at the time bigger than NCCU. It was done purposely, really wanted to see it happen. And of course, since then, when the newspaper, the television speak of the sound machine, they say that first. So I felt that it's one thing that was helpful to get to make it easier to market the program, because you know some programs have that, like the March 100 for FAMU. It's just a little easier to have a nickname, and we already had one. It came from Willie Williams, so I just felt like we need to kind of push it more. So we were able to do that. We were able to perform for. We did a lot of stand-ins. We stood in for the University of Virginia, one of their games. Stood in for the Marine Band at another ACC game. We had a lot of times where we could come in and have a lot of good television exposure. Of course, during those days, it was hard to come by. Another thing that we didn't have then was times where we could really get with other bands except for at the games. There was no Honda Battle of the Bands. There were no festivals, competition. It was just the halftimes, and they were the greatest ones. And we really enjoyed halftime. And we tried to have a different show every game because of that, because there was no other time to really perform. And of course, we also built and tried to maintain the power of the symphonic and concert bands. Pep band was something that I had a chance to start when I was a student.
Oh, great.
There wasn't one. I had just finished arranging class, and Dr. Ed was like, well, if you want to, sure, go ahead. And so we started a pep band and just had a great time. It was a way for me to polish my arranging skills, and thankfully still going on today.
Okay, great. I'm not exactly sure when the fight song was written.
Fight song was written by one of my students, Terrell Smith, Travis Terrell Smith.
Okay.
Goes by Travis Smith, but there were so many Travises in the band, they ended up calling him Terrell, but people would know him either way. And he, same thing I was doing. He had just finished taking his arranging class. He wanted a chance to really, to try to hone his skills. So I said, go for it. And he and they got with the cheerleader advisor at the time and kind of got the cheerleaders involved and ended up writing the fight song. And even made sure he put a little tag from the alma mater inside of it as well.
Okay, about what year was that?
That would have had to have been around, again, 94, 95, I believe.
Okay, great, great. It sounds as if the tradition of leadership here at North Carolina Central University to make sure that we are building something from our foundation continues with you as it was passed on to you and certainly to your students.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, as you know, Mr. Joram Reed will be approaching his, or has been here 10 years. And right now, the band under his leadership has seen quite a few wonderful things that, milestones, as you would.
Absolutely.
Would you like to say something to address Mr. Reed and the current students today at the modern sound machine?
Well, of course, as alumni and former director, I have a unique perspective of what it was like to march in the program as well as to lead it. And I know some of the things that the current band has gone through from the standpoint of obstacles. You know, we've all had obstacles, and I'm very proud that they don't let any of that show when it's time to perform. They have become a hallmark of excellence. The sound in Sound Machine has really, really manifested itself so much under Mr. Reed. And so we're really proud as alumni and as a former student and also as a parent of a Central student as well. Very proud that we are connected to what you've done, Mr. Reed, as far as bringing the sound to the Sound Machine to a higher level. And we're never going to forget these years. And hopefully you have 10 more and as many as you want.
Well, again, I would like to thank you, Mr. Xavier Cason. I would like to thank you for your leadership. I would like to thank you for your service to North Carolina Central University. And certainly, you exemplified the finest in leadership and continuing to carry on the teaching, the musicianship to your students here at Hillside High School and throughout the country. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Absolutely, it's been my pleasure.